Chapter 1. Perhaps we should just forget about it. The girl at the nearby table suddenly spoke. I feel we are not that compatible. Qui's ear perked up. Her body started moving slowly to the other side. She secretly stretched her head out. Through the partition, she eavesdropped on the two people conversing next to her with rapt attention. She didn't dare make any sudden huge motions. As her head slowly moved out, she could just see the girl's back and the hand that the boy had put on the table. The boy's forefingers lightly tapped on the table, and he was silent for a long time. Such a long time passed that even she wrinkled her brow, when he finally said, "How has that exercise coach been lately?" When the girl heard what he said, she shook. From Qui's perspective, although she couldn't see what was happening, that girl's current expression had to be very marvelous. They were silent for a long time. The girl stood up, and said resentfully, "Guyan, you have never been sensitive to other people's feelings, and you don't even leave a margin for error for yourself." Almost sobbing she said, "In any case, even I would have liked you before." The girl covered her face and left. After a long time, she heard Guyan softly mock himself, "You think I wouldn't have liked you once either." He had also liked her once. As it turned out, such an excellent person could also get hurt because of mutual feelings. And such an excellent person could also become frustrated and sad. She was completely unaware that her head was stretching out more and more. Half of his body was already revealed from the other side. She only saw him wearing a Western suit, as he sat there calmly. However, his hands tightly clutched the wine glass in his hand, almost as if trying to shatter it. He was not good at expressing his feelings. She thought, isn't living like that very exhausting? Perhaps Qui's gaze had been too piercing. When Guyan lifted his head guardedly, their eyes locked. She stared blankly before laughing brilliantly as she happily waved at Guyan. "Hey, what a coincidence." Guyan frowned immediately. Without saying another word, he left as if he were escaping. She immediately got up, accidentally kicking over a chair, and tagged along. When they exited the cafe, the sun shone brightly outside, as the beginning of spring dyed the tips of the willow branches green. Guyan walked along quickly, so she ran slowly until she caught up. "Uncle Yan, the day has warmed up. If you walk this fast, you will sweat. Slow down." She said, "No wonder your girlfriend was a two-timer. You're inconsiderate." When he heard these words, Guyan abruptly came to a halt. She also stopped and laughed, "But it's fine. Your ex-girlfriend left you because she was lacking a sense of security. I have a really big sense of security, so I definitely won't be a two-timer like her." Guyan glanced at her out of the corner of his eye and said, "You have grasped a hold of everything to recommend yourself for this position." She thickened her skin and laughed, "I like you. It was so difficult for me to get to this moment, so of course, I must confess my love for you. In the past, you had a girlfriend, so it was fine if you didn't accept me, but from the events I just personally witnessed, you're single now. In the future, I'll pursue you boldly." If this were to happen in the past, Guyan wouldn't even pay attention to her. However, today his mood was extremely bad, so with a grouchy face, he coldly said, "I am not interested in playing around with you." She still looked up at him, smiling as she spoke, "Guyan, I am very sincere. If you were 10 years older, I would believe you were sincere." Guyan indifferently turned and left, completely not noticing that the girl's face had gradually lost its smile. She kneaded her fingers, as her usual smile fell downwards, feeling a bit wrong. She whispered, 10 years. It's not as if 10 years are that far apart. She and the person she liked were 10 years apart. When she was 16 years old, he was 26 years old, and he had come to her high school for a lecture as a young, promising entrepreneur. At that time, Qui's parents had just divorced. She had just found herself in the most rebellious phase of her life. She set her heart on leaving home, to go to the outside world to make a living. She would forever remember the lecture on the future and your dreams held underneath the old poplar trees at the school, on a March sunny spring day just like today. The lecture, coupled with Gu Yan's extremely infectious voice and his wonderful performance, softly knocked on Qi's heart. Reverence, and then love. Up until now, she had always been fighting with Gu Yan as her goal. She studied at the university he had gone to, she studied the major he had studied, and after she graduated, she was accepted into his company, as one of his workers. Then, she proceeded to bravely confess her love. All of this hadn't been easy, but she felt it was worth it. End of chapter 1.